Welcome to Local Roots, your favorite podcast brought to you by the Richmond Farmers Market. We're here to celebrate the heart of our community, local farmers, fresh produce, and artisan creations that make Richmond, Indiana truly unique. Join us as we take you behind the scenes with interviews, tips for seasonal shopping, and stories straight from our market vendors. Catch us on YouTube and all major podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Stay rooted, stay connected. It's time to grow local with Local Roots.
Welcome back to Local Roots. We have a special episode today, so it is just myself and Kristi.
Hello.
We just want to talk about all things Richmond Farmers Market today, kind of give an insight of what we're up to this year, give a little bit of maybe some fun stories here and there. I don't know. We're just here to chat today.
We're just here to have fun.
We've been out of commission for a few months, and we're just looking to get back in the game. So
let's start off. Okay.
I want to test our work compatibility really quickly. So we're going to play a speed game of this or that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I am going to just spit out two options, and then really quickly at the same time in unison, we're going to see how our answers compare. You ready?
Okay.
All right. First off, fresh tomatoes or watermelon?
Tomatoes.
Watermelon.
Oh, that's a hard one.
That is. They're hard,
That's
but
really
like
hard
we're going to
one.
have to just like really
Okay.
spit them out here.
Okay.
Honey or maple syrup?
Honey.
You're going too fast.
Sorry.
I would have said honey.
Oh, wait.
Early morning setup or after market teardown? After market teardown.
Yeah. Agree. I'm not a morning person, really.
I like the morning setups, but after market teardowns are just nice. Flowers or herbs? Herbs.
Flowers.
Ooh, I don't like this. We're not very compatible so far. Loud market hustle or peaceful vendor chat? Peaceful vendor chat.
Peaceful vendor chat. Yeah.
I think that's mine. Coffee trailer or food truck?
Ooh, coffee trailer.
Sorry, food trucks. Berries by the pint or peaches by the pound? Peaches by the pound. Or a couple pounds sometimes. Surprise rain or windy day?
Surprise rain.
Kids activity booth or a pet parade?
Pet parade.
Talking to customers or wrangling vendors? Wrangling vendors. We know them a little bit more. Pickles or jam?
Pickles.
Okay, last one. Summer market or winter market?
Summer.
Market. I think we did pretty good.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. Took us a little bit to get in a groove there, but
Yeah.
I think, some of these are really hard.
Yeah.
And I will be honest, when I said fresh tomatoes or watermelon, I did not know which way you were going to go for that one.
I didn't know. I just went with my gut, and because I think I've been dying for good tomatoes all winter.
Yeah.
If I have to buy one more nasty tomato that turns in 3 days at the grocery store,
Absolutely.
that ends up
They're
with
not the
no
same.
flavor anyways, then I might just start boycotting winter tomatoes.
We don't want sad tomatoes anymore.
No.
My husband actually will not buy tomatoes from the
I'm
grocery store.
starting to get there because literally I'll buy like a 4-pack, and within 2 days I'm throwing at least 2 of them away.
Yeah.
There's nothing that beats those tomatoes that
It's
come
fresh.
to the farmer's market.
Absolutely.
But the watermelon is not far behind.
I have to say watermelon just because I'm a fruit person. Like I am a sweet girl through and through, no matter what it is. I eat dinner to eat dessert. I will always say that. And I'm the same way with fruits and vegetables. I like it on the sweeter side. So.
I think it's that watermelon I really only think about in the summer, but tomatoes I want to eat
year round. I hear about tomatoes year round from Kristi.
I love my
Spoiler
tomatoes.
alert. Yeah, my other hard one I think was early morning setup or after market teardown. I love early morning setups just because it's calm, especially
is.
like there's a little bit of a rush, but like we're all in unison, and then teardown is just hectic,
Teardown gets hectic. I'm not a great morning person. I need a solid 2 cups of coffee to really get my brain going. So sometimes in the morning I feel like I'm a little foggy, but it is more calm.
It is.
Whereas at the end you're kind of tired. Sometimes it's really hot.
Yeah, especially in the summer we
Yeah.
get very, very hot. All right. Well, that explains our coffee trailer food truck. That's a very hard one too. We love you guys, all of our food trucks. You are amazing to feed us. Yes. But without that coffee, neither one of us function. And if we don't function, the market doesn't function.
That's right.
And neither do a lot of our vendors, by the way. They have to rely on that, caffeine as well.
And we're fortunate to have coffee pretty much at every market.
Thank you, Roasted.
That gets us through. And I do usually come in with my own little, leftover from the morning.
Yeah.
But I'm often getting a refill.
Yeah. You're better than me at that. I usually forget, or I'm just using a normal coffee cup on my way in, like chugging it down. You usually have your to-go mug.
I don't know how you do that. I would spill it everywhere.
I'm not saying I don't. There's a lot of mornings that I do spill it a little bit on the way. On me even. Was it two Saturdays ago? I literally had coffee all down my sleeve, which that actually worked out because there was a little girl at that market. She spilled her hot cocoa, and we got her a new one. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? We all make mistakes sometimes. Even I do. And look, and I pulled my sleeve up and I showed her all this coffee stain all over my sleeve under my jacket. And you could just kind of see that relief in her a little bit. So you know what? I will spill coffee on myself if it makes somebody else feel better.
That.
So
way to spin it into a positive.
I know. I was like, you know what? I was meant to spill my coffee on myself. And if I can do that at the end of the day, that's great. If I can turn those into positives. So, yeah.
Well, otherwise we were pretty spot on.
Yeah. We were pretty good, especially towards the end.
The flowers and herbs, I do enjoy good herbs too, but I'm just ready for flowers. I'm ready for things to look pretty again. I
still have tulips sitting on my table that I got last Saturday, and they just make my mood so much better to see that. And I love that. There's something about herbs for me. I think because I like to grow my own herbs and I like to cook with them and stuff. So that's just a big go-to for me. That's a staple in our house. So, but now that we've got that out of the way, I would say we're kind of compatible at least.
So we can continue this venture.
We can. Okay. The market can go on.
Good.
We can keep it going. And speaking of the market, we're about to move outside to we talked about winter or summer a little bit. We both decided summer is our favorite. We love the winter.
Yeah.
But we've been cooped up in Starr-Gennett for almost 6 months now, and we want to get outside in the sunshine.
We're always excited to go inside after we've been out for a while. But once we're in there for a few months, I think that building is perfect through the holidays.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very wintry.
It's beautiful there. It really helps with the market vibe when you walk in there. And honestly, I think if you ask us in October that same question, summer or winter market, we very well may say winter market.
Yeah.
Let us get indoors. Let us get out of the cold wind. The frosty mornings are hitting,
Don't have to worry about the weather as much.
Holidays are coming. We always love the holiday markets. So, not to discredit one or the other, but we're just very excited right now because
I think by the beginning of April, it starts to get nicer outside.
It does.
And so you start.
Spring fever hits.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're ready. We've got, at this point, 2 more markets.
We have 2 markets left. So we have our Easter market this Saturday, Arbor Day, and then we get to move right outside. So we've got some big things coming. Our next 3 markets that we actually have, because we've got a pop-up going on, and I won't talk about that too much because probably by the time y'all are watching this, we'll be past those 3 markets and about to go outside, if not already back outside. So can't wait for that. But we have some really exciting stuff lined up for this summer.
Stuff that's really going to benefit our customers and our vendors.
We've worked very hard this winter while things kind of slowed down a little bit with our winter market to really push some solid programming and bigger event days at the market. We've got some new things that we're tying in there. We have some new programming that we're tying in there that we'll talk about a little bit. So do you want to talk about some event days that we've got coming up?
Yeah. So we move outside officially May 3rd will be the first outdoor market. We kind of, aside from the big days, we do a lot of theme days also that are built in. So shortly after we move outside, we'll be doing our market with Mom. So that's always a really cool market to come out and shop for a special gift for the special
Mother's Day things. We always do a fun Mother's Day craft for that as well to take home for the kids.
Yeah. But I think the one I'm looking the most forward to, and I might be jumping a little ahead, is the Kids' Day, because it is my favorite day of the year.
It's a lot of our favorite days, I think.
And that's June 7th.
That is June 7th. So we're trying to kick off, I think officially just kick off that official summer season, because then kids will be out of school. They'll be looking for things to do. We are very fortunate to where we have I think we're going to have over 10 organizations that are setting up, providing really in-depth activities for the kids. And of course, a lot of our vendors show up for that day. Yeah, that's a big favorite of mine as well.
Yeah, so we'll have a lot of, like she said, the organizations coming out to provide kid-friendly activities. We'll have a lot of games out there. Our JUCO staff, which is the park summer camp staff, comes out and helps play games with the kids and keeps them entertained. The vendors jump in on it, and they love to do kid-themed products or come up with a little interactive thing at their booth to, keep the kids educated, but in a fun way about, local food and eating healthy and all those things. And then there's some not so healthy
things in there, but they're still fun.
Super fun.
We had a vendor, was it last year, that Elena made those cookies that you could paint on, and we've had kids that specifically have asked if those are returning. So side note, if you're watching this, Elena, you might want to put those back on your menu.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we're very lucky in that aspect that the vendors also jump in on these event days. So they see that they're coming, and they kind of gear their products and their promotions and stuff towards that as well. So it's really an all-in effort for some of these event days.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm super excited about that. And then we'll be into the thick of it, and that's when
it never stops.
We'll start seeing all that good summer produce starting to come in around that time. So, and I think that's something people, we're always trying to educate on, is that these are local farmers. They deal with the same weather conditions that we deal with. If we're not putting flowers and vegetables into the ground, neither are they.
Right.
Unless they have some kind of,
Yeah, a few of them have, greenhouses, hoop houses and stuff. So they can be a little bit ahead of us. But in general, I mean, we really work hard to provide that educational aspect to it, to where, this is in-season produce. You're not going to find corn right now. You're not going to find tomatoes right now. You're definitely not going to find watermelons or peaches right now. Some of that might be in the works a little bit. But we also have to understand that what peach crop that we see in the summer is currently being affected right now by the weather that we're having, because those trees are trying to bud out, they might be trying to flower. And then when we get these last minute frosts that, like to kick in before we get full blown into warm weather, that really can affect that, so the weather that we are having right now will really impact what we see then. So I think that's a big educational aspect. Our farmers are people too. And there are things that are out of their control. So
be patient. It's coming. It will come.
We have to be patient too. It's hard. But it's coming, and we're looking forward to all of that for sure. And alongside of all that amazing local produce that we have, we've got tons of programming to help aid in that local food access, because I'm sure you would probably say the same thing. I would hope most people would say the same thing, but nobody should have to fight for food.
Right.
They should never have to fight for food. So it is
good, healthy, locally, not just grocery store food.
Yeah.
Good food.
Exactly.
Not to say there's not good food at the grocery store,
But to have that local food access in general, food access for all, and to bring that community together, I think that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And that's one of my biggest missions and goals within the market. And I work very hard behind the scenes to make sure that we continue bringing programming so that people that come to the market, no matter, what barriers you may or may not have, you have access to the food that's there. And we're lucky that the vendors are the same way. You know, they work very, very hard every single week. Literally, we're open every single Saturday year round to bring this stuff to the market so that you, the community member, can have access and just enjoy that food with all of us. So
a good time to dive into some of the new stuff.
Oh, yes. We have lots of exciting stuff this year. So, of course, I'll talk about just a little bit some of the programs that are returning. We have Snap Double Dollars that will be returning this year, and our WIC Market Match. So those two programs will be returning. If you're not familiar, the Snap Double Dollars program is a program where SNAP eligible customers come out. If they swipe their EBT card with us, whatever you pull off of that card, we actually double it in market tokens. So those market tokens are in $1 and $10 increments. They go towards food eligible items at the market, and then they do not expire. So if you pull off $20, then we give you $40 and you can use that while you're there. Or if you don't use all of it, you can come back the next week and use it then. Or even if it's 6-8 weeks out.
Yeah, or if you just want to buy one single item and you want to pull $4 off of your card and spend $8 and, you know, you can do that too. There's no minimum, there's no maximum, there's no judgment.
There's absolutely no judgment. And this is something I think that it's beneficial to the customer, but it's also beneficial to our food vendors as well. Some of them, you know, they've noted that you know, a good portion of their sales comes from SNAP sales and WIC sales. So that is something I think that's important to remember, that even if you as a customer are coming and you're on those benefits, like Kristi said, we hold no judgment for that. We want you to have that food access, and we want to see that communication and that connection that you have with the vendors that you're purchasing with those items, because you really build such a strong connection with the vendors when you're purchasing. And that's all around. That's whether you're on these programs or not.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when a customer will post something later and tag us in it, and they've made an entire meal out of items that they got at the farmer's market, you know, and they'll make a roast or a, you know, just a full family meal. And little by little, the more you shop at the market, you find yourself doing that. I made a breakfast a couple of weeks ago and I thought, oh my gosh, like everything but the avocado on my plate came from the farmer's market. And that's pretty cool.
Which you will not find avocados at the farmer's market.
We'll never find avocados at the Richmond Farmers Market.
Yeah, everything's locally grown, and avocados would be a difficult one for us here in Indiana.
If someone does bring avocados, we're going to go out and make sure that they grew those avocados, because
like, show us the magic that you're working right now. Yeah. But no, I think it's great too. We see those posts on social media. We see you guys when you share that. We think it's amazing, because it also shows the vendors like what their work is going towards. And I can assure you that nothing makes them feel better about what they do than to see you feeding your family with the products that they grew, that they baked, that they took the time to just bring to the table. Literally, they you know, they bring them to their vendor table for you to purchase. And then when you make something like that out of it, it's incredible to see that kind of work in progress. The ebbs and flows of the market outside of the market.
For sure. And even on the craft side, knowing that you're buying something or as a gift or something that there's nothing like that anywhere else, you know. I know a lot of our jewelry vendors, they make really unique pieces, and we'll get asked all the time, where did you get those earrings or
I get it frequently.
Or whatever.
Yeah. We're walking billboards. Like, I have a ring on right now from the market. I've got some earrings that you can't see. Usually I've got some bracelets. I'm always wearing stuff from the market. And it just makes you feel good to know, like, that becomes a part of your daily life. Yeah. So, and that's what we strive for. We want to make sure that we're very community centered at the market. And we want to be an integrated part of your life, no matter what that looks like, however small or big. So we talked about SNAP Double Dollars a little bit. Our WIC Market Match is a newer program to the Richmond Farmers Market. We're about to be up on a year of it going on. Yeah, I think we launched it in late July or late June, summer. Early July last year. Yeah. So yeah, we're getting ready to come up on a year. It's definitely picking up traction. So WIC Market Match is similar to SNAP Double Dollars, but a little different because we don't pull any benefits off of WIC cards. So if you are a WIC eligible customer, then you can come up and we will give you vouchers to match what you get out of produce, eggs, and bread to use with our vendors.
So if your WIC benefits give you 2 dozen eggs a month, you'll end up with 4 dozen eggs that month. Or if you get 2 loaves of bread, you can actually end up with 4 loaves of bread, because then you get to use the match at the market and then take your
still use it at a grocery store.
Absolutely. At the grocery store.
So you still get to use those 2 dozen eggs at the grocery store, and then you get to also have 2 dozen to use at the market. So I think that that's a really great thing.
And a huge shout out to Reed Community Benefit for giving us the ability to provide those programs.
Yeah, Reed Health Community Engagement. Where would we be without you, for real? They back up our SNAP Double Dollars program. They back up our WIC market match program. And now they are being supporters as well in our farm to pantry project, which is a new program within the Richmond Farmers Market. And it is very
hard
much
lunch.
so.
Hard lunch is happening.
It's been my baby for a long time. It's always been my dream to find a way within the Richmond Farmers Market to buy excess produce from vendors and to watch it go to local food pantries. So we've done gleaning programs in the past with Society of St. Andrews, where similar concept, produce that vendors want to donate to local food pantries. They can do that at the end of the market. And then we have community members that will pick it up and make sure that it gets distributed to those food pantries. Now, I'm able to purchase that surplus. But that was
on a donation basis. So that was if a farmer or, a baker had leftover product, they were just, donating it, which they love to do. Yeah. But at the same time, they are there to support their families and put food on their own tables. So this program, while the first one definitely benefited the community, this program will benefit both sides of it.
It will. So it's going to kind of put a nice little bow on all of it because, they do get some tax write-offs and stuff with that, but then, you kind of have to wait. And when you're in a position, a lot of these local farmers and stuff, sometimes you're not in the position to wait. I mean, we know what that's like.
Yeah.
Some of us are paycheck to paycheck. We pinch those pennies wherever we can. So, my dream for this type of program was to make sure that they're still seeing some type of income right now when they need it, but we're not seeing that food waste. And we're also strengthening the local food system and helping with food insecurity in our own community and getting that local nutritious food to those who need it most. So I am very, very excited to launch this program here in the summer. It will be just farm vendors. So in the past, we had gleaning programs that also did, baked goods, or some of our like soap vendors and stuff. They would also donate bath products and things. Now, those donations can still be accepted. We'll obviously never turn those away. But as far as helping with that monetary amount, it is just farm produce for right now. So we're really excited to see how that impacts not only our local farmers, but also just our community in general, because, we're here to support everybody.
Yeah. And just keeping in mind, like you said earlier, these farmers are subject to the weather conditions. They're subject to all the things that are happening in the environment. So them having a bad week, is a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect, through them and their, financial needs to keep their farms going. Yeah. And then it's a ripple effect into the community. So this is just going to be a huge way to keep that cycle going.
Absolutely. Because they not only do they rely on Mother Nature, but they also rely on the same things that other businesses do. You never know. We can never gauge how many people are going to come out to the market. We can never know who's there to buy what. It's not like we can sit here and say, you're buying those tomatoes today because they've worked very hard to grow them and they're going to go to waste if you don't. That's a bit aggressive, and we try not to do stuff like that. Yeah. So, I think that just having that, a little bit of reliability for them to count on. And it's definitely not a program that I want to be relied upon as I can grow extra. Right. So there are perimeters in place for that to make sure, especially this first pilot year will only be return seasoned vendors that have been with the market before, because we've built that relationship with them. We also want to make sure that it is food that we don't want to see go to waste. Like I said, it's not something like, oh, oops, I accidentally packed, a bunch of extra bushels of apples, but I'll do this, Right. So we want to make sure that it's going to the cause for the right reasons. But we're looking forward.
And we've seen it before where we've got, farmers that are just there in the summer that end up at the very end. They've only got a couple of markets left and still a lot of produce to move. That'll help them too, and put money back in their pocket and make sure that food is getting out where it's most needed.
Absolutely.
I love it. I can't wait.
So that is our farm to pantry project in a nutshell. But we are also thankful, thanks to Whitewater Valley REMC. They have generously donated some money to us so that we can continue our Carrot Cash program. And I say continue, but last year we called this Kids Fresh Bucks. I'm changing it up just a little bit because I like the way Carrot Cash sounds a little bit better. Yeah. And I think that it will be more recognizable that it's just towards fresh fruit and vegetables. So these Carrot Cash vouchers that we give out, we give them to kids at the market, and they're able to get $2 towards fresh fruit or vegetables. So, a lot of times that kind of equates to like just a serving or something, but that is a serving that they can try. That's a healthy choice that maybe they would not have otherwise made or had the ability to make before. And it also really gives them that independence. Like, I think that's a really cute thing when we see the kids get excited over this little $2 voucher. And, you know, you may say it's $2, but to this kid, that's an independent decision that they get to make. And if you have kids, or if you've been around kids enough to know, they want to make those independent choices, and they want to know that they can go up and they can decide, you know, if they want berries or carrots, or we see berries more than we see carrots, but you know, still that's their decision, and they get to make those healthier choices. And hopefully that kind of integrates into their lifestyle, you know, down the road a little bit. I know like on Kids Market Day last year, we saw more kids that got more excited about our fresh bucks than we did the goodie bag prizes, which is insane. You know,
the goodie bags usually have candy and stuff.
They've got candy in them. They've got toys. They've got like fun interactive things. I mean, Play-Doh, that's always a big hit. Little squishy toys, different sensory items in there. But there was a few kids that put them back because they wanted the vouchers to go and use. And I think that's an amazing thing, just to see that kind of incorporated, because not only do they get to make those choices and have a little bit of that independence, but they get to make those connections again with the people that are growing the food that they're eating. And I think that's really important in instilling those community values that we have at the market.
And I think that just goes to show in all of these generous organizations and sponsors that we've been able to find. You know, one thing that's different about the farmers market that some people may know, I mean, we make no profit by holding the farmers market. Anna and I make no extra money by, you know, bringing in the vendors that come out. We're there for the vendors. We're there for the customers. And I think it goes to show that, you know, we're able to do these programs based on those generous donations and other organizations that want to see the community thrive and want to see the market thrive. And I think that's something we're really proud of. And it's one thing that sets the farmers market apart a little bit. It makes it a little bit different. And not just that, but the fact that everything that is sold at the farmers market is either grown, raised, or made by the vendor you're purchasing it from. These are not resale items. These are not things that people are going out and buying in bulk and then turning around and making a profit on. These are things that people are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into. They're very passionate about. Our vendors don't tend to dabble in multiple things. They tend to find what they're good at and stick with it. And, you know, yes, there's, like you said, ebbs and flows of business that might make them change their business model a little bit. But for the most part, they're finding what they're passionate about, and they're bringing it out to the community with bigger dreams. You know, we've seen some start off at the market that end up with storefronts, that end up with, you know, selling their products in other locations. And we love being that kind of springboard into their small business.
I like that, the springboard. I just picture, because we call the market a lot a platform. So we're a community platform, but we're also a platform for the vendors so that they can utilize it as a way to sell the products that maybe they wouldn't otherwise have access to. So I just kind of envisioned that platform that we're always talking about with a spring under it, just flinging them across.
And they get to go do other things. We're not selfish. No, we're not stingy. They can go other places, but
we definitely encourage them to, I mean, as you should with any business, to go out to other events to see what else is out there. You want to broaden your horizons as much as possible. You know, I think our biggest goal is that the market is your home base. You know, so yes, while you might go out to other events and things, we actually have other vendors say, well, I'm coming home this weekend. Like, we're going to be at the market. We missed our market family because we're together every week. You know,
and it is a family.
It is.
These vendors support each other like none other. They could be competitors, technically, sell similar products or be in the same field of farming, or, you know, and they're still there to help each other. When, you know, we see our, you know, vendors that have been there for a long time, and they see a new vendor come in, whether they sell a similar product or not, they're going up, they're introducing themselves, offering help, offering guidance, you know, sharing tips,
helping set up, you know.
We've talked about it before, pulling each other out of the mud and snow if they need it, helping them bring their stuff in, or helping them load up at the end of the day. And it's really such a community that once people get in there.
What is it Denise always says? A rising tide.
I don't know.
Something was shipped. I might have to Google that. It's a really good quote. Kevin, do you know the quote?
Negative. I don't know.
Something, I don't know. There's something that she says all the time, and I love it. And I've heard other people say it, but it's very, very true to the market. I'm gonna get my phone out and
Should we
I'm
call her?
going to
Put it on the board.
let me see.
Excuse us, Denise. We need you to jump on the podcast for a minute.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
There it is. But yeah, it's, we tell people all the time, we may have a new vendor come in, a new baked good vendor that already has a customer base. And, so they come in, they start selling their products. And while we have other baked good vendors that sell, because I come and buy cookies from you, well, now I'm going to walk around
Exactly.
and potentially, find other items that I want to try. So every time we bring in a new vendor, it's almost like we're bringing in a new wave of customers
people,
that will benefit everyone.
Yeah. And the same thing happens. I mean, they're very aware that what they do and their presence at the market not only influences their business and what they sell, but influences their neighbor as well.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, if you've got a customer that comes in and they specifically only want to buy your product, well, that means they're probably going to stroll around a little bit. We do have a few that are quick in and out shoppers. I don't know how you can be that type of person. I'm a browser for sure.
Yeah.
But, and then they're going to go around, they're going to browse, and then they might explore and learn about a new vendor. And guess what? You just made a steady customer for somebody else. And that's a magical thing at the market for sure that we have going on. So
Yeah, I agree.
So we've talked about a few programs. Maybe we should take a break on programs a little bit. We started talking about some of our events that we have coming up, and that I think maybe we should dive back into that. We have our Saturday market. So like we said, we're going to be back outside at Jack Elstro Plaza starting in May. We stay out there until the end of October. But we are crazy enough to where between the months of July and September, we also do Tuesday Twilight Market. So
And they are going to be so fun this year.
I'm so excited. It's, Tuesday Twilight Markets have been a growing market. I mean, for many, many years. Ever since I took this position, I've kind of made it a goal to try to keep growing Tuesday markets because we're reaching a different customer base for one, but it's also just, we talk about winter and summer being different vibes, and then Tuesday Twilight is a whole other vibe than the other two. So, Tuesday Twilight Markets, we always have live music. So the Elstro stage is always utilized with local performers. We try to have food trucks out there. And we've got a couple food trucks that are lining up that want to be there pretty much every Tuesday this summer. We do fun activities. Hopefully our splash pad will be up and running successfully this year. And then of course we got our vendors that come out. So the Tuesday Twilights are just a unique market beast in itself. And, being that it's in the evening as well, there's just something magical about that. And
we're bringing back our food truck battle.
We are bringing back our food truck battle. So last year we did our farmers market food fight. We had 5 food trucks that came out in July, and they all competed for top dish of the night using ingredients from the farmers market, which was really, really cool. That was probably the biggest Tuesday Twilight turnout I have ever seen.
Yeah.
So what did that do? That gave me a light bulb. And I think sometimes you hate my light bulb.
You get, your light bulbs are just
They're firing off.
Every
firing
day,
off. Yeah.
Hannah's got a new idea.
If I peek my head in your office door and I'm like, hey, I was thinking, you're like, get out. I don't want, that means
Just
more
not-
work.
Just every now and then.
Yeah.
Sometimes not, but
Right.
you hit me sometimes on a busy day.
I can be, I don't want to say an overachiever.
She has a squirrel board in her office.
I do. I have a squirrel board because I'm trying to learn to focus, and line my squirrels up a little bit more. So when I have these ideas, when I have the time, I can go back to them. But I love to hit the ground running. I don't know if that's a strength or a weakness, but when I do have these ideas, I'm like, hey, let's go. We're going to do this. So the farmers market food fight last year was actually one of those light bulbs. And I thought, let's try this. We did. It was amazing. It was so much fun. Yeah. We ended up, so Ginger Gringo ended up winning the top dish of the night. He was our judges champion for that night because we had five special guest judges. Kevin was one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, that was delicious.
Do you want to sign up to be a judge again
I'm in,
this year?
just
Oh, there we go. Let's go. Yeah. So Ginger Gringo won the judges panel for that. And then What the Truck Food Truck was our People's Choice Award. So we had 2 different categories for people to vote on their food trucks. We learned a lot of stuff from that event. I feel like that's something about us as well. We're always learning.
Yeah.
And we're always implementing new ways.
Trying to figure out the best way to do
improve.
things. So I think what we're coming up with for this year is a way for more of the community to be able to taste those items without necessarily having to purchase a full dish of it. So still in the works, but just know that if you come out that night, we are trying to come up with some ways for you to be able to try maybe a little sample from each truck before you make your vote rather than making
some of them sold out very quickly because like I said, you never know what to anticipate with, customer turnouts and stuff. Yeah. You might have 1,000 people that will say, yes, we want to come on like a Facebook event thing. That doesn't mean they're all going to show up. Right. And that's just one avenue of people saying that they're going to come as well. So, we're working on that. That is going to be on, I don't want to tell you the wrong day, July 15th is going to be our farmers market food fight this year. And we want to give a shout out to the UEA because they're sponsoring that event for us this year. We are hopeful that we're going to have 5 food trucks. We will still have a People's Choice and a judges panel for that. Yep. So stay tuned for all of those updates. But thanks to that light bulb that I had last year, I said, you know what? We had such a great turnout for the farmers market food fight that I think our Tuesday markets are the perfect hub to have one big event day each month. So that way Saturdays stay to we still have some event days on Saturdays that we absolutely love. We'll talk about those in a minute, but we want to keep that Saturday farmers market vibe going strong for Saturdays. Like I said, Tuesdays, that's a whole different market beast. Yeah. So that's going to be more of our like event center that we have for Tuesdays. So we've got the food fight in July, and then in August, we are so excited for August. During our farmers market, our National Farmers Market Week, on August 5th for our Tuesday Twilight Market, we are actually having an 80s neon night out. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. I'm an 80s freak. I'm an 80s baby. So
yeah, I can't wait. So we're going to have an 80s cover band that will be playing. So stay tuned for those announcements on the band that will be playing for that. Retro Rush is going to come out with some arcade games. So that's going to be a blast. We're going to be handing out glow sticks to every single person that comes out to the market. So you better be ready.
You better wear your neon.
You're going to wear your neon, wear your 80s attire. And we are actually doing special hours for this event. So this event, normally Tuesday Twilights are 4 to 7. This one is going to go all the way up until 8 p.m. To get that full neon effect. We're really excited for that.
That should be right before the kids go back to school, so you don't have to worry about getting home early and can come just enjoy a night under the stars.
Exactly. Shining bright in your neon.
And we'll have live music that night, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. We're hopefully, I can't say anything yet, but we are looking for we have a, hopefully, fingers crossed, good tribute band for that night. So that's going to be our second big event day for Tuesday Twilight. And then we're going to go into September 9th, which will be our sock hop and shop. So we're switching from 80s to 50s.
My second favorite era.
I just picked them out especially for you.
Thank you.
That's our compatibility speaking again, I think. So yeah, that's going to be a 50s theme night. We're still kind of working on the details because that's September, but we're always, I feel like, 6 months ahead. So that's probably going to be our next step that we're really heavily planning. We do have Atomic Kingpins that will be playing that night. Of course, we'll have all the 50s theme stuff. So pink and black, let's go, poodle skirts, all the fun things. And that one will be our normal hours from 4 to 7. So that's our big Tuesday Twilight nights.
But now the Tuesday Twilight will be every Tuesday. Oh, yeah. It's just that these are
our
some
big
of the
big
event days. So
yeah,
if you don't get out on a Saturday, a lot of the vendors will be there on Tuesday. We've got a pretty good lineup coming in for Tuesdays this year. And I know a lot of them are talking to each other to kind of rotate their attendance. So, say a meat vendor, while they maybe can't come every single Tuesday, they're trying to work it out amongst themselves to make sure that we always have someone.
Yeah.
And again, you can come out and use your SNAP benefits, your WIC benefits, all the same programs that are in place for Saturdays are available on Tuesdays as well.
Yep. So you can still do Carrot Cash on the Tuesdays. Yep. Like as you said, SNAP, WIC, all the things. The only thing that won't really be available on Tuesdays that will be for a 6-week period in between June and July is our Pop Club. So we have been working on a 6-week program. It's called the Pop Club. Pop stands for Power of Produce, where I've got 6 weeks lined up where different organizations and vendors within the market are collaborating to bring interactive educational activities to the market that kids can participate in. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's going to take place between June 14th all the way up to July 19th. So it's going to be in between our Kids Farmers Market Day. It's going to kick off the weekend after that, and then it's going to end on our July Jubilee event day.
Nice.
So we didn't want to interfere with Kids Market Day because there's a lot going on for that day. So that's why we're going to start it the week after. But then our July Jubilee will be kind of our end of Pop Club celebration. It's our summer bash. Last year we called that Patch of Paradise.
Yeah.
That was kind of our 50-year anniversary. It was our golden year last year. So we're going to have to come up with a theme for this year.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
What comes after golden year?
Oh, God,
I don't know. We'll have to look that up for sure. Come up with a theme. But the July Jubilee will be on July 26th.
Okay.
And that is also sponsored by UEA. So
and don't worry, we'll post all of these on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We always have our event dates listed. Go follow us if you're not already. Richmond, Indiana Farmers Market. And we'll be posting updates to all of this, expected vendor lists, announcing the music, all that good stuff. So if you're not following us yet, make sure you do that.
Yeah, make sure you follow that so you can stay up to date. We do event pages for all of these. We try to keep everybody updated on everything.
Yeah, we're also on Instagram. So if you're an Instagram person, you can
Facebook,
find us there.
Instagram, TikTok. We're working.
Fun little TikTok.
Don't judge us on our TikTok. Actually, just don't judge us in general. We don't judge you, so don't judge us. When you see some of the nonsense that we do, just go with it. It's fun.
To be fair, we never questioned our compatibility.
We never did. No, we're all weird here. That's the way we do it.
We're a lot. We know it.
All right. Well,
other than that, we just got an exciting summer.
I'm ready. We just wanted to hop on here and share that excitement a little bit because we've got so many things going on. It's the biggest thing that we say all the time. Farmers markets don't just happen.
That's right.
There's a lot.
There's a lot that goes into it. We just hired a new market assistant, so our staff is growing and nobody's going anywhere, but we just have that need to bring in more people because the market just keeps growing. Our programming is growing.
Yep.
So we've got a lot of good things in the works and we're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. We've been here for 50 solid years, not us in general, but the market has been around, like I said, we did our golden year last year. So we're pushing forward and we are doing the best that we can and continuing to bring all the great things to the community. And I think the important thing too is to thank the community for their support over all that time with the market. Yeah. Because like we say, we're there every Saturday. These vendors are here every Saturday, but you know what?
The customers are there too.
The customers are there too. We have so many regular customers. So whether you're a regular customer or you are just a pop-in customer, if maybe you just woke up early on a Saturday and you're like, I think I might want to go to the farmer's market today. That means more than you know to all of us because with the market, every Saturday is Small Business Saturday.
And if you can't get out every week, if you're helping share our posts and the upcoming stuff that's coming on, the upcoming stuff that's happening, that is hugely helpful too, because then you're sharing it with your friends and family that we might not have reached otherwise. So
getting more eyes
keep doing that, keep supporting these vendors. They put everything into what they do.
Yep.
So we can't thank you guys enough for continuing to support them because we couldn't do it without the vendors.
We couldn't.
Or the customers.
Absolutely not. Or the customers. There's more than one way to support everybody for sure. And a lot of times that does not have a dollar amount on it.
Right.
You know, like she said, if you're sharing those posts on social media, if you're just coming out and you're showing that support physically, if you are, you know, telling your sister's husband about a leather bracelet that you saw at the market and you thought would be a good fit for them. I mean, word of mouth and sharing that goes way further sometimes.
And follow
than any
the
dollar.
vendors. The vendors, a lot of them have their own Facebook pages and
Yep.
social medias that you can follow, and you know they're announcing their upcoming products, or if they're you know running a sale on something.
Yep.
Or
A lot of them have business cards. So take their business cards. I have so many business cards in my wallet. That is not a thing of the past. Grab their business cards, stick it in there, because there's going to come a time where somebody's
Absolutely.
you're going to say, you know what's perfect for you? And you can pull that out and you can say, look, here you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
But well, this was fun.
This was a lot of fun. We're happy to be back. Thanks, Kevin, for having us.
You're welcome.
I think that's a wrap.
I think that's a wrap.